By the way, yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 6 of MAXPitch. As we're about to begin, we wish everyone a blessed Ramadan Kareem. Salams and welcome to MAXPitch, the high-stakes reality show where visionary founders pitch trailblazing business ideas to a panel of seasoned investors, the funders. Entrepreneurs from all industries are carefully selected for a chance to impress the funders with their groundbreaking ideas and sharp business acumen. Will they secure the coveted funds and mentorship to turn their dreams into a breakthrough? Stay tuned to find out. Here is where we usually ask you to grab your notepad and some coffee, but as beautiful Ramadan is upon us, I think today you can just stick to the notepads. And with that, we wish you all the most heartfelt Ramadan Mubarak. As always, we have an innovative lineup of founders, so let's get to know them. Our first founder is Mustafa Dinani from Navierre. Navierre is transforming longevity by bridging the gap between insurance and healthcare with a multi-sided platform that empowers insurers to reduce costs, healthcare providers to streamline workflows, and consumers to take control of their health through a prevention-focused approach. No matter who you are or what you do, healthcare will always be relevant to every one of us. So I'm excited to see how Navierre plans to remodel it. Next up, we have Nimar Bangash from Obsiido. Obsiido is Canada's first dedicated alternative investments platform for private wealth, providing a purpose-built software-as-a-service solution that streamlines investment workflows for financial advisors while offering institutional-grade research and portfolio management. This platform has utility regardless of your financial goals or expertise, so I'm curious to explore how Obsiido is pioneering this transformation. All in all, it seems like we've got quite the impressive lineup of founders here today, and I'm excited to engage with their upcoming pitches. Next up, let's introduce the funders. First, we have Mohammed Kamal from Mendoza Ventures. Mohammed is an executive product and engineering leader at MasterCard with over 20 years of payments and fintech experience. He has co-founded several digital products at MasterCard while helping set its strategy in bill payments, digital wallet solutions, and real-time payments. Outside of MasterCard, he invests in and advises early-stage fintech, cybersecurity, and AI startups. Next up, we have Bilal Khan from Intuition Capital. Bilal Khan brings with him 2 decades of experience in finance, business, technology, and law, and is currently the managing partner of We Shall Investments, a premier private equity firm with a portfolio of investments across North America and the Caribbean. With a proven track record as an operator, advisor, and investor, Bilal is responsible for leading the firm's overall management, steering the growth of its portfolio companies, and guiding new investments. And last but not least, we have Raed Masri from Transform VC. Raed Masri is a serial entrepreneur turned VC and institutional LP, with a track record of both success and failure, giving him deep insights into the startup life. In Canada, He played a key role in shaping wireless policy through Jaguar Wireless, and later introduced in-flight internet nationwide with SkySurf, which he exited to go in-flight. Now, we've talked about the founders, we've talked about the funders, but there's one demographic we haven't addressed, and that's all of you. The show would not be complete without your overwhelming enthusiasm and support. So, thank you for being here today. I cannot wait to hear about the lived experiences and successes that have grown both our founders and our funders, ultimately bringing them together here today. Without any further ado, I'm your guest host, Alia Jalil, and this is MAXPitch. All right, and we are live. Welcome to episode 6 of MAXPitch. Modeled after popular shows such as Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, MAXPitch gives Muslim entrepreneurs a chance to pitch their businesses to a panel of seasoned professional investors, the ones we have before us here today, in the hopes of raising money to grow their ventures. However, MAXPitch isn't just about the funding. It's about mentorship and partnership, shaping the success of tomorrow's Muslim-owned ventures. With our talented series of founders and funders here today, alongside the hardworking Max team and our fresh live audience, we have quite the program ahead of us. I'm excited once again to be your guest host today. My name is Alia Jalil. I'm a fourth-year student at the University of Toronto, majoring in computer science, specializing in software engineering, and minoring in creative writing. It's a mouthful, I know. I work in technical program management, and in the long term, I'd like to be a motivational speaker at the intersection of tech and education. So we know you folks are probably a little bit hungrier than usual today, so we decided we want to keep this episode a little bit shorter. We also want to increase your engagement a little bit to keep your mind off of that hunger. As today is March 15th, we're at the halfway mark of Ramadan. Subhanallah, I can't even believe it. As we are sitting here at the halfway mark, we want to turn the floor to you. What is something that has stood out to you this Ramadan? Let's scan the Slido code here, or you can type that code into the Slido website. And we want to hear from you. What is something that has stood out to you thus far? And I'm just reading through the chat. I'm seeing some greetings from UK, some greetings from the US, some greetings here in Toronto. Look at that. Love to see it. And then Raed is in Saudi, so 4 countries so far. Okay, we've got someone from Saga. Amazing. And I'll continue encouraging folks as well to just scan that QR code. Looks like we got our first answer. Love and community. Oh, I feel that too. It's the best feeling. There's no time like Ramadan to really feel that connection to our Muslim communities, wherever you're coming from. Ooh, amazing recitations in every mosque I visited. I love that. I'm as Kamal is starting as well. I want to kind of check out different mosques and see what the recitations are like, because I've heard some different mosques in my own also really good recitations. Okay, we've got amazing food, always. Family. I think this is the power of the Quran. Connecting with Creator. Oh, these are so beautiful. See some reading more Quran. I've been trying to do some more reading myself. My mom, mashallah, is very impressive. She recites like a juz and a half a day, and just like with her eyes closed, mashallah. Alrighty, we'll give it about 30 more seconds if anybody else has any thoughts they'd like to throw in there. We've got also in the chat I see here, we've got some London, Ontario representation. Alrighty. And with that, Thank you, folks, for sharing your insights. And as we approach this second half of Ramadan, we wish you all the best. I hope that it's full of more things that stand out to you, more moments that stand out to you, people and community that stands out to you. It's so refreshing just seeing this newness that inspires and how it looks different. And also is refreshing seeing how many people are coming from so many different places. So thank you, folks, once again for joining us here today. With these ambitious spirits high, I'd now like to introduce our first founder, Mustafa Dinani from Navierre. Navierre is transforming longevity by bridging the gap between insurance and healthcare with a multi-sided platform that empowers insurers to reduce costs, healthcare providers to streamline workflows, and consumers to take control of their health through a prevention-focused approach. Let's take a look at what Mustafa has to share with us here today.
Salams, everyone. Thank you for having me today and taking the time out of your busy Ramadan schedule. Navierre is solving a critical issue. Every 35 seconds, someone in the US dies from a preventable disease, despite the US having the highest healthcare spending per capita in the world. This has broad implications, but we focus on life insurers who take direct financial losses when policyholders die earlier than expected. Swiss Re, a global life insurance leader, predicts that this trend will continue for the next 10 years, and it will cost the industry over 30 billion in unexpected losses. So life insurers generally don't track policyholders' health after they issue policies. They're completely in the dark. Their business model has historically centered around selling new policies rather than managing risk on the 200 million plus policies that they've already sold. This completely limits them knowing where the problem is, when to address it, or even how to address it. It's a really big problem considering the losses they're about to face. So Navierre bridges this gap with a multi-sided platform connecting insurers, healthcare providers, and policyholders. We'll focus on insurers. So for insurers, we've built Risk Radar, which provides them early warnings on policyholders' health shifts. It provides them actionable insights, not just data, but ways to intervene. And it also creates direct business impact just from what Navierre does on a day-to-day, prolonging lives while driving 3x to 10x ROI on the preventive care that we focus on. This is a game changer. Instead of just having claims data to forecast risk, insurers now have real-time intelligence to prevent early deaths. With my 20 years experience as an actuary and an insurance innovator, I know profoundly how this can reshape the industry in various different functions across the insurance value chain, from capital allocations to product innovation to even pricing for future products. So let's jump into a quick demo.
On the Risk Radar dashboard, insurers get an instant view of emerging health risks in their in-force portfolio. The system continuously analyzes disease prevalence trends, detecting shifts in cardiovascular conditions, diabetes, or any other key risk drivers of long-term claims. Insurers can customize the risks they track and compare trends over time, spotting deviations early that could impact future claims. So let's take an example. If an insurer detects a rising cancer risk in certain cohorts, they can then activate a solution by setting risk thresholds. The Risk Radar then seamlessly delivers this intervention via our longevity app, engaging policyholders directly. The longevity app is a key enabler and an asset for us. It's bringing direct and real value to policyholders on a day-to-day basis. It's helping them find doctors who take their insurance, manage medical records, and receive personalized recommendations at every stage of life. The data and the insights from the longevity app is what powers the Risk Radar, which then enables insurers to proactively sponsor solutions before claims materialize. This closed-loop system is what makes Navierre unique. It creates a shared value for both policyholders and insurers while bending the cost curve before it spikes. Thanks for watching the demo.
So unlike competitors that either focus on lifestyle rewards, which lack insurer buy-in, or act as data aggregators without enabling any type of an actionability, Navierre is the first to bridge data with action. The whole platform is proprietary with several components that we are assessing and or wanting to patent. We have a deep network in the industry, the insurance industry, that totally relies on relationships, and we've already made great strides. 3 weeks ago, we announced a strategic partnership with Swiss Re, a reinsurer that insures insurance companies. They've already positioned us with their network, giving us access to 50 plus insurance carriers. And just the founding team already has a deep network, so we're leveraging that as well. Our business model is that we charge insurance companies $3 per person per month. And that allows us to proactively engage policyholders while surfacing high value insights. Even at this rate, they see a 3x to 10x return from delayed claims, not even counting the long-term value of better data. Now, with Swiss Re on board, we're raising a 3 million bridge round. This will enable us to scale the business development, advance AI capabilities, and enhance our customer success. This round will fuel our momentum and position us for a larger raise with several corporate ventures that we are actively discussing with. The time is now. We've landed the whale and we're ready to blow it out of the park. Join us in empowering longevity, helping everyone to live healthier and longer. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Mustafa, for sharing. You had a really sharp opening there, and you had me hooked until the end. So with that, we're now going to turn the floor to our judges here to make a decision or to ask some questions to help inform their decisions. So any of our brave funders like to go first?
Sure. I'll start first, and I'll say that I'll second what Alia said. Your opening was quite sharp. Your demeanor and the way you described things were very captivating. And it was particularly helpful because I missed the demo part. My video stream didn't work, but I was captivated by the front part of your presentation. And the fact that you have the experience in the field as an actuary is actually quite relevant. I'm sure the colleagues are going to have some questions, but I wanted to jump straight into the valuation. You picked an $18 million post valuation relative to, I think, 100K of revenue. So maybe you can walk us through the thinking there.
Yeah, no, that's a great. So we spent the last couple of years really working with our target customers and pretty much in stealth mode. We're only now going to market, and we were working the Swiss Re deal for about 12 months to kind of get us here. The revenue, while early days, it's low, but we project that next year we'll be at about 10 million in revenue, and that's just from less than 1 million lives. Because if you take $3 a person per month, that's basically where we will land at. So it's the ARR till now is more reflective of the stealth mode, and now only going to market and getting our early customers.
Okay. Amazing. Does that answer your question, Raed?
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We'll pass the floor. Who'd like to go on next?
Yeah, maybe I'll chime in. Jazakallah, Mustafa, that was a great presentation. What I guess our audience doesn't know, but is in your deck and I think publicly available on your website, is how deeply personal this mission is for you. I know you lost a parent at a young age, and that's really driven you to spend your life and career working on patient outcomes and risk, managing risk very well. And I was at a janazah earlier this week of a young boy who had lost a parent, and it's really stuck with me. But today's pitch and reading your deck is a reminder of how those types of things can have a tremendous impact on one's life and lead them to have a tremendous impact on humanity, on society. And so for that alone, I say, like, mashallah, congratulations. You're working on a very impactful mission here, and I'm excited for you, given you're just getting out of stealth mode. So I wanted to kind of start with that. I want to talk about channel? Because you talk about this $10 million of revenue that you've got kind of forecasted out for next year. That's a big number. That's going from 100,000 to 10 million. That's huge. And so how do you expect to win those customers? Like, what's your pipeline of customer acquisition? And is that already established, or you still kind of got to build that?
No, that's already established. So, we have 30 of our own leads that, because the founding team came from insurance and healthcare. So we have leads of our own that we've been working the last several, almost a year. But the Swiss Re partnership is really instrumental because they share risk with all the insurance companies, and they're a huge stamp of authority in the market. They're one of the top 4 in the world. So even just by us telling carriers now, or insurance carriers, that Swiss Re is on board, like, it's completely accelerating, our discussion. It's no longer that you're a baby and an infant, trying to prove a point. It's almost like, okay, you have a really big, powerful entity behind you now. Let's see how we can work this through. So that's basically what I would say. We have huge confidence that between our network and the Swiss Re stamp of authority and validation, it's big. And the great thing about after the announcement came out is all their competitors have been knocking on our doors as well. So we have Munich Re, RGA, Score, which make up the top 4 that we're all in active discussions with. We're using reinsurance as the channel predominantly because they share the risk, and they kind of are more the innovators in the space.
Just a quick follow-up on that. So are they selling your product in their policies? Is it kind of tied to their policies? Are they kind of forcing their policyholders to use this, or is this kind of an option?
It's always an option. You can't force unless it's like a new product that you can kind of design it that way. Let's say Swiss Re shares 30% of Prudential's risk or New York Life's risk. So they go to New York Life and say, look, we're in risk together. We're all going to lose money together. So why don't we launch Navierre with your policyholders? So Swiss Re is a reinsurer to insurance companies. So they're basically going to all their 30, 50, insurance partners and saying, we're in this together. If we lose together, we win together. Let's launch this for all your people. Whoever it takes up will benefit. Even if 10% pick up, we'll still see mortality savings. That's the message.
So you're one removed from the consumer. Your channel is not direct to consumer. It's
no.
It's
direct to consumer is almost too costly. The economics don't make sense.
Thank you.
I'll chime in. Very noble cause, Mustafa. I love what you're doing, and congrats on the Street deal. I think for anybody that doesn't know that name, it's a big deal in the industry. So I think it in itself is a good proof point of what you're doing. I'll put on my paranoid hat. Maybe that's reflective of me, but I liken this to car insurance when they asked me to put a device in my OBD2 port to measure if I'm, accelerating, braking hard, if I'm a responsible driver. And I've resisted that, even with the 10-15% discount that they offer, I've resisted doing that. Is there a privacy concern with this, or is there potential for misuse where insurance drops coverage for people based on patterns, data that consumers just wouldn't want insurance companies having?
It's a really good point, Mohammed. Yes, there's always privacy concerns, etc. But the great thing about life insurance is that they can't change premiums. And often after 2 months, after the first 2 months, they can't even deny the policy, which is actually giving us an advantage now. So we took a pulse of policyholders. If you had a New York Life app, would you do this? And the answer was unanimously no, which kind of led us to not be a white label product. We are a brand of our own that protects the policyholder. So we kind of play in the middle here. That doesn't allow insurance companies to see data that they can act negatively, while helping the policyholders get access to better care. So we kind of only bring in aggregated data up. They will never see individual data that they can do anything about. So
consumers are downloading your app directly?
They would be invited by the insurance company to say, this is a longevity platform. You will see a lot of value out of this. Download the app and use it for your day-to-day needs. And then based on that, they would have to give some kind of attestation that we can share aggregated data. And if they don't, it's okay. We can still serve them, but generally that's basically what drives that. And we're at a pivot point on life insurance. They're actually now starting to offer a lot of preventative tests to their policyholders, like the early cancer test, they're offering genomics test. So they are in this cusp of saying healthcare is in the US is failing. We need to do something and take matters in our own hands. So we're at a pivot point on the life insurance side.
And I saw in your deck that you're, looking at MyFitnessPal, Epic, MyChart. I assume you're aggregating that data. You're not trying to replace any of those systems.
We're just pulling the data, making the data, I call it making the data dance, right? So we're actually pulling the data, assessing the risk, finding the holes, and guiding the customer, guiding the policyholder to better health. That's what we're doing. Right now, it's very fragmented.
Alrighty, I think I'm going to jump in here. Thank you for your questions, judges. Thank you for your answers, Mustafa. And with this, we're going to give the judges a minute to deliberate. But as we do so, we also want to give you folks a chance to share your thoughts. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to Slido once again, and we're going to ask you to share your thoughts on the company. Just one word on how you felt on this presentation while the judges make their decisions. And as you folks are, once again, you can scan that QR code or you can go to slido.com and type in that code listed at the bottom. I'll check out what's happening in the chat. I see some questions that our founders can answer in the chat afterwards. Seem to be mentioning being in healthcare. This is one of the best approaches to preventative health I've seen. This business model works. Yeah, love to see it. Okay, we got innovative, impactful, data-driven. Ooh, I like that. Impressive. Yeah, I'm in alignment with all of these. I like holistic. I like that word in general. I think that's a good word. Hey, sticky. Amazing, authentic, impactful, insurance, true, transparent. I like that. We're going to give it about 20 more seconds. Still see you have some participants typing. Empowering individuals. Okay, that is not one word, but I like it. Alrighty, and that brings us to time.
Mustafa, take a screenshot. That's a very impressive list
we
of
can
words.
share this. We can share this back with you as well, Mustafa, so you have this as a reference point, as just some feedback on how folks feel. Alrighty,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and so before we get right into the judging, I have a note I'd like to share for Bilal, Mohammed, and Raed. This is the month of Ramadan. This is a month of generosity. This is a month of giving. So really think about that as you make your decisions, as you share your feedback. And now I will pass the floor to you to make your calls. Let's start with Raed.
Sure, thank you so much, and Mustafa, really well done. And maybe a point to share with all the audience is sometimes the VC might not fully understand what the entrepreneur is building. However, the entrepreneur's way of expressing, not impressing, is very telling, number one. Number two, data points that they point to in their presentation, such as a big partner, a channel partner, helps bring a sense of validation and intrigue. So my response is yes, I'm very interested in spending more time with you, Mustafa, to learn more, and excited to learn more. So over to the other panelists.
I'll jump in. Yeah, intrigued by the idea. I would like, I'm not sure if this is a yes or no, but I think I'd like to give it a month or two for you to kind of start growing into the valuation. Curious to see how the Swiss Re deal starts panning out. But yeah, let's definitely connect soon, inshallah.
Great. Ali, are you an investor? Because I'm beginning to think your pitch on him was pretty impressive. Look, how can you ignore a channel like Swiss Re? Like you nailed it, right? Great kind of point around very quickly showing a point of validation. It's a strong one. And so I'm definitely interested in learning more. I'm in. My only thing, and I think mine is a combo of both Raed's and Mohammed's comments, is, you may want to consider maybe even doing a bridge round. Like if you need the capital right now, if you really need the capital, consider maybe a small bridge that gets you over to the other side of that 10 million or close to it, because once you're there, you're going to be in a much stronger position to negotiate that round, to be able to raise that capital from on your terms with investors that you want, versus right now, there is obviously a lot of question around the valuation and actually being able to grow into that. So if you don't need to raise the money, hold off. You got 6 months, show that progress. If you do need to raise it, consider a bridge until you're on the other side of that. You'll do a monster round after that. And I think you're going to show a lot more traction. But I'm in. I'd love to learn more. Congrats.
Thanks everyone for your feedback. I don't know, Alia, if you wanted me to say anything, but I really appreciate the feedback and the thoughts. And great job for everyone. That you got what you guys do. It's amazing for Muslim entrepreneurs.
Amazing. Yes.
Thank you for what you do, Mustafa, by the way. You're really lifting the heavyweight here. So congratulations and wishing you the best.
Yes, congratulations, Mustafa. Thank you to our judges. I see you took my advice. You're leaning into that Ramadan generosity. It's a beautiful thing to see, and keep it up. And with that, I even see some movement in the chat saying a couple people in the chat want to connect with this. So congratulations. And so with that, before we move forward, we do have a QR code as well that we'd like to share. And so with this QR code, for those who are interested in being a customer or a funder of Navierre, this is also an opportunity. So you can scan that QR code there. We'll leave that up for a moment. Alrighty, and we can also put a link for that in the chat as well. And I'll keep us moving. So this brings us now to our next founder, introducing to the stage Nimar Bangash, representing Obsiido. Obsiido is Canada's first dedicated alternative investments platform for private wealth, providing a purpose-built software as a service solution that streamlines investment workflows for financial advisors while offering institutional-grade research and portfolio management. Let's hear what Nimar has to bring for us today.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your time. My name is Nimar. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Obsiido. We are a Toronto-based fintech building at the intersection of wealth management and public and private alternative investments. Our mission is to partner with financial advisors to meaningfully enhance and simplify investing in the alts ecosystem. Before founding Obsiido, I spent 15 years in the investment industry here in Canada, most recently as head of investment products at a $50 billion publicly listed asset manager, where my core focus was on building and bringing to market a variety of investment and wealth products that were specifically designed for the financial advisor community. Several years ago, I became heavily involved in a number of initiatives where I spent thousands of hours researching accessibility into private markets and more generally alternative investments for the advisor community. And I came away with two important findings. The first is that we are in the early stages of a global secular trend, which is seeing a multi-trillion-dollar rotation of retail investor assets out of public markets and into privates and alts more generally. And the second is to facilitate this rotation of capital, a new kind of tech-enabled intermediary model has begun to emerge in different parts of the world. With this knowledge in hand, I was compelled to leave my role at my former firm to begin building the Obsiido platform to solve a combination of problems that financial advisors face when interacting with these types of investments. Just to put this in perspective, if you are an advisor and you're looking to buy an ETF or a stock, you press one button and that executes the trade, settles the trade, reporting is done, custodial accounts are updated, and everything is happening nearly instantaneously and invisibly to the advisor with no burden being placed on the advisor themselves. This is in sharp contrast to private markets, where an advisor is burdened from the very moment they begin investing in this ecosystem, facing a wall of complexity, everything from a meaningful knowledge gap when it comes to underwriting and evaluating these investments, through to the transactional, operational, and administrative complexity of actually investing in alternatives. Enter Obsiido. Our platform combines software to digitize and centralize important pre-trade, trade, and post-trade workflows for the advisor to ultimately simplify and make alts more scalable to invest in, and combines that with an investment solutions platform to provide turnkey solutions to the advisor. Since launching our platform at the beginning of January of 2024, we've scaled to 40 million in assets under management, with the expectation that this year we should breach 100 million and wrap up the year with about 150 to 250 million, which converts to about $1.5 million of recurring revenue for our platform. Next month, we'll launch the first module of our vertical SaaS platform for advisors, which digitizes the transactional layer of actually investing in this ecosystem. The last thing I'll share is just about the market. This is a very early stage market opportunity. In the Canadian market, the penetration of privates or alts within the overall sort of 5 trillion of private wealth is less than 1%. So we are at a very early stage of a compelling opportunity that is unfolding globally and locally in the Canadian market. Today, we're raising 3 million Canadian dollars at a 15 million post-money valuation. Roughly 50% of the round was raised in December of last year, with 3 strategic institutional investors participating. To wrap up, I'd like to briefly demonstrate our software platform before opening it up to questions with the judges. So if we can bring up the platform here in the background. So what you see is a sort of Obsiido Pro, which is our advisor desktop application for alternative investments. On the left-hand side, we have the key modules of the platform, and right now we're looking at the dashboard, which allows the advisor to quickly toggle between securities that they've purchased, looking at holdings, asset mix, performance data, documents, and key dates for those securities. The first module that we're going to go through here is our proprietary database of hundreds of public and private alternative securities that allows the advisor to streamline sourcing and filtering and shortlisting private securities or alternatives to be able to do more diligence and more efficiently figure out what to specifically invest in. From here, we'll take you to our diligence hub that allows the advisor to access long-form documentation that fund managers make available through the platform, and using an AI integration, dynamically engage with the documents, generate summaries, and solve some of the regulatory requirements. From here, we'll show you our portfolio modeling capability that allows the advisor to set up asset mixes and run portfolio analytics to make a more intelligent decision around how much to allocate to alternatives or which product to allocate to. And lastly, the first module launching next month is our centralized subscription agreement module, which allows the advisor to interact with subscription agreements of hundreds of securities in one streamlined space, allows them to complete all the documentation, allows them to enter all the relevant information for themselves and for their clients, and ultimately kick off a configurable e-signature process that allows them to then kick the document off to the subscriber, to the client, to their compliance team for review before they wrap up the process and go back, and they're able to then send additional subscriptions over time. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the presentation and open it up to any questions. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Amazing. Thank you, Nimar, for sharing. I think it's generally impressive when someone sees a disconnect that exists in their environment and then leaves that environment and takes the initiative to create a solution. But I think it's specifically impressive how Obsiido is able to navigate that. So thank you for sharing. With that, I will pass the floor to our judges for questions.
Sure, I can jump in. I'm just super excited by the caliber of companies I'm seeing come out of our community. Every time I attend one of these things, I'm just always just impressed by the quality of companies that are coming that we're seeing. So kudos to you, Nimar, on that. Also quite passionate about kind of private market investing. Help me understand from like a private wealth advisor, does this become their operating system, or is this just the private market part of it? How does this plug into other tools that they're using? Because they're generally not the most progressive people in terms of adopting tech. So how do they manage other tools that they're using alongside this?
Yeah, so thank you, first of all, Mohammed, for your questions. So today the status quo is that the advisor doesn't actually have any digital tools for navigating private markets or alternative investments. So they're relying on sort of a, call it a mosaic approach to gathering information, handling manual documentation, et cetera. Our intention on the software side is to really become part of the infrastructure that the industry utilizes to transact in these types of securities, to research them, et cetera. Longer term, recognizing that we are one part of the advisor's overall toolkit, our intention is to work with, call it broad-based desktop applications that advisors use for portfolio management, and to embed our technology into these larger or broader sort of technology interfaces. Companies like CGI, Investnet, more locally firms like Digit. These are essentially portfolio management softwares that allow the advisor to manage the full life cycle of their clients. So for us, our intention is first and foremost to develop expertise within the vertical of alternatives, and then to work with these larger enterprise software providers to embed our technology into their environment. So that's really the longer term ambition, but for the moment we are standalone. We're sort of a cloud-based application that the advisor can access through their desktop. And our approach to customer acquisition, just to kind of wrap it all up, is to start with the transactional layer. So, rather than trying to win advisor business, we're building a tool that they will use just by virtue of investing in these types of securities to transact or subscribe into hundreds of different securities in this ecosystem. And that brings them into our environment from where we can start to market additional paid features to allow them to ultimately increase the average contract value over time. So that's just to give you a sense of where we are in our journey and what our ambition is over time.
Excellent.
Help us dream. How big can this get?
Well, I think just within the Canadian market alone, given how early stage we are right now, like the average penetration of alts on the private wealth side is less than 1%. It's pretty much nothing at this point. So just in Canada alone, by being an early entrant into the market, as this trend begins to go exponential, we're really well positioned to capture a lot of that growth on a go-forward basis. So our expectation is in the next 5 to 7 years, we're looking at a business that's sort of 50 million plus in recurring revenue through a combination of both sides of the platform. It's the investment solutions plus the software that gets us to that point. And then past that point, really the beachhead market opportunity is Canada, but obviously our ambitions are global. We are already looking at parts of the Asian market. The US market is obviously the big elephant in the room, just given the proximity of where we are, but we like what we're seeing in parts of the Middle East and the Asian market. We think that that's somewhere we would go next. But I think for the next several years, there is immense opportunity just to build venture scale locally here, and that's what we're focused on.
So a 50 million ARR business like yours, what would that trade at?
Based on the comps that we've seen, it's like conservatively like a 5-time revenue sort of comp is what I'm looking at, or what I've sort of seen. But it could be higher than that. I mean, in the last couple of years, companies in our ecosystem have raised at meaningfully higher revenue multiples. But I think we're in we've been in a new environment for some time. So I think a 5-time multiple is at least what we model against internally.
Okay, thank you.
Nimar, you killed it. That was an incredible pitch. Honestly, you showed us the present, you showed us the product, you showed us the the traction you're making. You did it like with so much confidence and poise, like mashallah. And I love at the end, you just kind of dropped the mic. You're just like, all right, guys, like I've already raised half of this round. Like if you want to come in, come on in. If you don't, you don't have to. And you did it without even a smile. So I love it. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
I really like this space. The area is growing exponentially. You're seeing a lot of big players now beginning to offer this type of stuff. Like Sagard has now launched a private, alt to private investors. You can get into their off public market deals. you're seeing a lot of movement in this space. I have a couple of questions for you. Just bear with me for a second. The compliance and the executing the trades. Are you guys doing this all on your platform, or is this? Do you have a back end that's clearing all this?
Yeah, no. So the part of the trade that we are focusing on is the part that today is manual for financial advisors. So Bilal, I know that you're Canadian based, so you may have some appreciation of the infrastructure here. So there is a clearing and settling layer in the Canadian market called FundServe that is responsible for all fund-related transaction activity. For financial advisors purchasing private market securities, it's a two-pronged transaction execution. They have to actually trade it through FundServe, and then they have to complete typically a 40 to 50-page subscription agreement alongside that and submit it to the GP. So the part of the trade that we are digitizing on platform is that subdoc component that has to be submitted alongside the FundServe trade. So today, the status quo is GPs will send a PDF of the subdoc to the manager, to the advisor via email, or they may have a portal specifically built for a fillable PDF of that subdoc. What we're doing is we're replacing these GP-specific solutions that create a big burden for the advisor and their team with a centralized environment where they can interact with subdocs for every security, including the Sagard product, including Mackenzie, Northleaf, and many, many others who are already either in contract discussions with us or queuing up for when the system is sort of fully scaled up. So that's the part of the trade that we're managing. Today, we are not intending to flow money through our platform. It's not actual cash moving. It's purely administrative and call it research that they use our platform for. That's really the part that we're focusing on as opposed to the plumbing. We have a variety of vendors behind us that assist us on the investment management side, but happy to get into that if needed.
So you're the intermediary, essentially. You're not, yeah, got it.
That's right.
And what about the accredited compliance piece? Are you guys managing that, or does that ultimately land on the alt?
That really lands on the financial advisor. So as part of their know your client obligation, anytime that they are making a recommendation for a client to invest in an alternative, it's their obligation to conduct the suitability assessment and to qualify the client as a accredited investor. So we are providing them with the ability to basically check a box and indicate that their client is accredited, but that qualification is their requirement. So that's more downstream from the space we're occupying. So I'll leave it there. So that part resides with the advisor.
Got it. That's awesome. Alia, one last thing, if you don't mind. So I'm gonna, Nimar, I'm gonna share a very brief story with you. So when I was like 27 years old, or 28, many years ago, I met this entrepreneur who was out there pitching for his first company, for his first round of capital. It was like his pre-seed round. He was running up and down the streets. I had known him personally. And that guy was a guy named Mike Hatchin, and he built Wealthsimple. And when I was 27, I remember looking at that pitch, his pitch, and him and I would talk about what he was doing at that time. And I thought to myself, damn, like I have a feeling this is going to be big, but I was broke. I had no money. Like I couldn't even string together a few $1,000 to invest in this thing if I could. And to this day, I regret that I never had the opportunity to do that. I helped him get in contact with Power Corp. Power Corp ended up investing. They became a channel for him. And now Mike and I are very, very close friends. And his story, I mean, it's been an incredible growth journey that he's had. So God knows I'm not going to make that same mistake this time around. So I am very excited for what you're building. I think I see some of that early stage potential there. And I'd be excited to learn more. So let's see where that goes.
Thank you, Bilal.
Amazing. Alrighty. Thank you, Nimar, once again for sharing. Thank you, judges, for your questions. We will once again give the judges a minute to deliberate. And at the same time, we're going to ask you folks once again for your input. Give us those one-word answers. Tell us how you feel about Obsiido. As always, you can scan that QR code directly on your phone camera, or you can type in slido.com and then type in those numbers. Very cool. Alrighty. I think some of us are struggling with the one-word part of the one-word thoughts, but very cool. I agree. Oh, some of us are really struggling. Next big thing. I do agree with that too, though. Invest, pioneer, nice. I see some folks in the MAXPitch chat here too, saying very impressive, exciting, which is nice. Democracy. Oh, someone wrote an essay. Okay, I like that. I like how passionate you folks are about this. Future-proof, wealth management is so important. Love this. Organized, game changer. Strong momentum. Okay, we're gonna give it about 20 more seconds before we flip over. Innovative. Really standing out here. All right. Great delivery and high value. Okay, so maybe next time we're gonna do one sentence thoughts. But amazing. Alrighty, and with that, we will turn the floor back to our judges. Thank you, folks, for your participation. And once again, I will throw out that disclaimer here. Generous month of Ramadan. We're coming to the end of this episode. Just keep that in mind as you make your decisions, judges. And I'll pass the floor to Raed. Take us away.
Well, I get to go first again. All right. So I will tell you the following. I'll share a story just like Bilal. I passed on the investing opportunity into Ramp at a $40 million valuation. And I think their most recent valuation is $13 billion. So that has haunted me for the longest time. And I regard our firm as very, very inexperienced when it comes to fintech. That's why we rely on our friends like Mohammed and others. And Bilal, sounds like we're gonna be leaning in on you on this one. So I was about to say no, but with the level of excitement Bilal has and the FOMO that I have from Ramp, I'm gonna say yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And Mohammed, if you'd like to go next.
Yeah, I saw that latest valuation of Ramp. I didn't want to bring it up and put salt on the wound, but no, I'm super excited about this. I think any solution that democratizes private investing is exciting to me personally. I think there are some strong tailwinds for what you're doing here. Companies are staying private longer. There's better, secondary solutions, more liquidity in the market due to tokenization kind of creeping in. So I think private investing has like a strong future. So I think you're kind of onto something. So definitely supportive and want to dive in and learn more.
Thank you.
And last but not least.
Yeah, Nimar. I'm going to ask the audience actually. Am I in or am I out? If you could put it into the chat group, let's see. What's the consensus here? Are we in or are we out?
I'm hearing that you're in. That's what I'm hearing.
Nimar, let me just say that this is a very competitive landscape, as you can appreciate. There's some really, really big players. While we're getting our responses, there's some really big players in this space. You're going to go up against Wealthsimple. They've got a tool that does that with the entire backend built into it. But what I think is particularly interesting is you've got a lot of competitors that are trying to figure out how to build this into their platforms. How do they give access to their dealer networks, their wealth management networks in a big way? And so I think that this has a big exit potential. And I think you're a very smart and talented entrepreneur. So for those reasons, I think it's unanimous. I'm in.
Fantastic. Well, I sincerely appreciate all your comments, your questions, and Alia, thank you for doing such a great job as a host. So sincerely appreciate your time.
And Nimar, let me just say, PTSD is a real thing in investing. It's a deep psychological challenge that we face. When we miss those, the best investors don't make the same mistake twice. So inshallah, let's see where this goes.
Inshallah. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Nimar, for sharing. Thank you to our judges once again taking my advice. I appreciate that. And again, you look here in the chat, everyone's saying voting in on behalf of Bilal's comment, which I think is a testament to the team's passion here today. And the FOMO, yes, I see a comment in the chat, the FOMO as well. Love a little bit of FOMO. I experience it myself sometimes. So sometimes that good FOMO really gets us. And once again, if you're interested in being a funder or a customer of Obsiido, please put your information there in the chat. Or sorry, you can scan that QR code there on the screen. We'll give you folks a moment for that before we conclude. Alrighty. And can you all hear that? I think it's the Ramadan spirit echoing with us. You know, it's made such a good episode. Just two founders here today, but so powerful, so impactful. Two great companies doing two amazing things for us. So thank you to our founders. Thank you to our funders, and for enabling new avenues of growth for these companies. With that, we'd like to conclude here today. We are so excited by your enthusiasm, your engagement in the chat, on the Slido. So thank you all. I know that our audience is typically interactive, but with the little extra Slido components, we got to see even more of your thoughts on the page. So thank you for sharing. In general, or next episodes coming up as well. Sorry, that video is just about to play. Alrighty. And that's us here today, folks. We will see you on the next episode. Don't forget to share with your colleagues and networks, and have a great weekend. Thank you once again for joining us at MAXPitch, a regular web series dedicated to helping the best Muslim entrepreneurs showcase their innovative ideas to seasoned investors and get access to the capital needed to turn those ideas into reality. That's right, folks. MAXPitch isn't just an engaging platform, it transforms the trajectory of these businesses. And what an honor it is to have you bear witness. MAX, or Muslims Achieving Excellence, is a nonprofit organization completely run by the most dedicated volunteers. Thank you to our team behind the scenes who have devoted their time and energy to carefully curate the episode before you. Please follow Max on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, and please join us for other related programming. There is always something new in store for you. MAXPitch, a production of MERN, or the Muslim Investment Referral Network. We cannot wait to see all of you back at our next episode. And as you return, bring a friend. We are always looking to expand our MAXPitch network. No information in this or other episodes of MAXPitch in any way expresses investment advice or guidance. This show is produced exclusively for entertainment purposes only. Please do not quote us to your financial advisors. Assalamualaikum.
I'll drop. But